folks, it's Nick Granville. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I was scrolling Instagram as you do when you play guitar, and I saw this great video by Guthrie Trapp. Now some of you might know Guthrie as a YouTuber. Well, that's kind of, he does YouTube like everyone else does, but the dude's a player, right? Like an actual legit player. He's a badass, you know? And so I kind of knew about Guthrie long before YouTube. Same with Tom Bukovac, all those cats, you know what I mean, that are doing the Nashville thing. They're the real players. They're the real deal. So yeah, so I thought today, you know, I'd kind of get into this thing. But Guthrie did this thing, video on Instagram where he called it Building the House. That's a fantastic way of looking at it, and I thought I'll share that today, and I'm going to expand on it because I don't really do reaction videos, so that's not the point. I want to add some more perspective to this and how to kind of put it into the blues, right? Because to me, the blues is the most important form in music there is. It's kind of the roots of jazz, it's the roots of rock and roll, it's the roots of soul music, funk music, all this music that we love, everything other than classical music, right? Yeah, so, and even some classical music has some blues influence in it, but that's a topic for another day. So the one thing Guthrie talked about, and he did it in the key of G, right, and he played a G chord. I'll play you the video. Why don't I do that? Here you go, here's a little bit of it. I just screenshot this from Instagram. I hope Guthrie doesn't mind if he ever sees this. I'm doing it for educational purposes, you know what I'm saying?
All right, practice this. G major, the chord, then the arpeggio, then the pentatonic, then the major scale. That's the sequence, building the house.
Right, so that kind of process of playing the chord, playing the arpeggio, playing the pentatonic, playing the scale, makes perfect sense to me, right? You play a chord, I'm going to move to the key of A. Right, we play an A chord, right? Let's make this a blues, so make it A7. Right, that sound. Right, and from that, then we play the arpeggio, which is really just spelling out the sound of the chord. 1, 3, 5, and flat 7 of the scale. All formula for scales comes from, for arpeggios comes from the major scale, right? That's why it's flat 7. Flat 7 of what? Flat 7 of the major scale. 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Then we can do it up an octave. Right, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and then the root note. Right? That sound, right? So, chord, arpeggio, pentatonic. Well, which pentatonic would we use over this? Major pentatonic. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now, I know some people like to think that major pentatonic is just the minor pentatonic down a third, and that's a great way to get started. But if you're into what I'm talking about today, this is more advanced than that, right? But it's still pretty simple. So we really want to think about A major pentatonic as its own sound. All right. And then scale, right? He plays major scale. Well, we're playing over a dominant chord. So we're going to play Mixolydian. Major scale with a flat 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Flat 7. Real simple. Now, I know I'm going over these super quick. You can rewind, you can slow it down on YouTube. You know all the tools. Just pause that screen, screenshot your phone or whatever you're using, and then you'll have the notation. Cool. So the next chord in a blues, go to the 4 chord, right? We go to a D chord. Now, we could jump up to D up here and do the same thing, right? We could do that. That's not very musical. To me, that the way that A relates to D is really super important, right? 1 chord to 4 chord. Notice I didn't say A to D. I said 1 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 4 of the key. I like to think that way because now things have a relationship rather than just A to D. What the hell does that mean? But 1 to 4, it's like, okay, sweet. Now we've got a relationship between them. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So on that D chord, well, let's play a D9 or D7, which you choose your flavor. Let's go with D9. I'm going to play the arpeggio. 1, 3, 5, flat 7. 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Right? But better yet, there's an A in there, so start there. Right? And let's play major pentatonic. Right, and then Mixolydian scale, major scale with a flat 7. Right, so we have, and then we have, and then we have, right, and then of course you do the same thing for the 5 chord, which would be exactly the same as the D, but up 2 frets, right? Do practice that. Don't just think, oh, I just move up 2 frets, because it is, you want to be able to visualize it, and you want to be able to visualize the relationship, right? 1, 4, 5, and how those chords relate, right? Because the 5 chord's going to go back to the 1. At some point, the 1 chord's going to go to the 5 chord, and how that relationship exists, because that's pretty crucial, right? But that's a really good way of doing it. It's kind of cage system, but we're kind of relating it to a musical way of doing it, rather than just like here's a chord and here's a scale that relates to that chord, because we're going chord, we're going arpeggio, which is just spelling out the chord, then we're going pentatonic, which is the same kind of thing but with a few more notes, and then we're going scale, which is the same thing but a few more notes again. So we're extending it with every time we play it. You could do that with any kind of chord progression that you can imagine. It could be 1, 4, 1, and then 2, 5, 1. That would be cool with me, right? 2, B minor, right? Play the arpeggio. Right, then play the pentatonic. Then play the scale. Right, which scale? Which minor scale are you going to play in that instance? Well, it's really a Dorian thing, isn't it? 1, 2. Because it's related to the 5 chord. Right? It's 2, 5, and then it goes to a dominant, right? You know that because as soon as you play Aeolian, it's the wrong sound, right? Unless you want that, but that's, yeah. Anyway, you see where I'm going with this, right? I'm applying something that Guthrie was talking about, and I'm putting it into a musical situation, right? That to me is crucial. I find so often when people play scales, they just go... Don't get me wrong, that's useful because there's some technique going on. You've got to get your fingers around it, right? But that's where we start, right? You start there, and then once you've done that, you don't need to do that anymore. The next step is to make it into music, and that's kind of what I'm doing here, right? I'm applying it to the blues, which is something you can use. To me, the blues is the foundation. So Guthrie talked about building the house.
Building the house.
That's what you're doing. When you're building a house, you're building foundations. So to me, what that does is it takes your playing away from just being pentatonic, right, where you might play one scale over all the chord changes, and now you can start to hear the chord changes. It doesn't make you a jazz player. Playing jazz is its own thing, right? It has its own vocabulary and its own kind of structures and things that make it kind of fit together to make music. But it makes you a more sophisticated blues player. And it doesn't have to be blues. You could apply this to whatever, but blues is such a foundation one. So again, to build the house, you build the blues, right? Yeah, hope you found this useful. Check out Guthrie's channel. You don't need me saying that because his channel's already out there and doing really well, but he's a great player, and he's got a lot to say, which I really appreciate. And there's so many great players out there giving their stuff away for free with this. How cool is that, right? So support them by hitting like on their channel and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Costs you nothing, super easy to do. Hey, I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers.